Strap into your seats and get ready. It's time for the Mortarpod.
Hey guys, Alex Stevenson, Jake Face here for this episode of the Mortarpod. Just quick plugs off the top here. Follow us on Twitter at SeemsGoodMagic. Streams on Twitch are at twitch.tv/Inez27, and stream times are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then email me at mortarpod@seemsgoodmagic.com if you have any criticisms, questions, concerns, anything, and I'll respond to you. This week I started a new video series, and it Seems Good Magic card giveaway. So if you're interested in a soul ring, the requirements for the contest are you subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a comment on that video, any comment you want, and I randomly pick one on January 5th, which hopefully this podcast is out in time. Otherwise,
sorry, we'll get you next time.
Yeah, just stay tuned for more card giveaways if you miss out on this one, because it is going to be sort of a regular thing, and it's always just going to be, if you're already a subscriber, just leave a comment, and I might start asking for like specific comments soon, so it'll be a new way to like connect with the people who watch the videos and stuff like that. So those are the plugs. Jake did F&M this week. I did not. I missed out. I was sick the last few days. I'm still kind of recovering a little bit. And Jake was actually sick recently too, so kind of a little bit crazy at Seems Good Magic headquarters.
It's very cold here.
A lot of sickness.
Send soup.
But we're gonna have Jake run through his F&M results, and then we'll go over some Star City Games stuff for the most recent standard event. But all right, Jake, kick it off.
All right. So I played Mono Black Control Friday, and well, here's my deck list here. I'll just go over all the cards in it, and then I can go back and talk about individual cards. 3 Liliana of the Dark Realms, 4 Devour Flesh, 1 Far and Away, 3 Heroes Downfall, 3 Read the Bones, 1 Toil of Trouble, 3 Underworld Connections, 1 Whip of Erebos, 1 Rakdos' Return, 2 Pack Rat, 1 Night Howler, 4 Night Veil Spectre, 2 Erebos, God of the Dead, 4 Grey Merchant of Asphodel, 1 Shadowborn Demon, and 1 Lord of the Void. And then for lands, I was running 4 Blood Crypt, 4 Godless Shrine, 4 Watery Grave, and 13 Swamps. My sideboard was 1 Dark Betrayal, 2 Duress, 1 Pithing Needle, 3 Thoughtseize, 3 Pharykis Cure, 1 Hero's Downfall, 1 Toil of Trouble, 1 Corrupt, 1 Merciless Eviction, and 1 Rakdos' Return. So I was going for kind of a 4-color black deck where I was just splashing into each of the other colors. I wanted only to use black for like every spell, but have the option to go into the other ones. So that's why I'm running the Toil Trouble and the Far and Away in the main deck, because they're functional even if I can't get the red or the blue to play the full amount. Obviously they're better if I can do the full thing, but with Toil and Trouble in particular, it's really not that different from playing a 4th Read the Bones, other than I don't get to scry, which is fine at times, but, you know, ultimately I think Toil and Trouble is a little lackluster when you're playing it next to Read the Bones, but had this been a more dedicated red-black control deck with Toil and Trouble, I think it could have been better. The Far and Away, always one of my favorite cards, that's why I play it, and instead of replacing a Devour Flesh for it, which is obviously the more, it makes more sense, I guess, when you're thinking about sack effects versus targeted removal, I took out the Hero's Downfall instead, because of the mana cost. I wanted to make sure I had 2-drop Sacrifice a Creature effects, so that I could get the early things like Ramp or an early Loxodon Smiter or something like that. And I know Hero's Downfall can hit that stuff too, but having something at 2 mana allows you to do like a turn 5, play Hero's Downfall, and play Devour Flesh, or read the Bones, then Devour Flesh. So having the 2 mana effect as a 4 of is actually, in my opinion, a lot stronger than having the same 3 mana effect as a 4 of. So that's why I decided to go with Far Away. I played Liliana of the Dark Realms for 2 reasons. I don't own enough Desecration Demons to play this deck correctly, and secondly, I wanted to see what she could do. So, like I said, I was trying to play it as kind of a 4-color thing, and it worked well for getting me the lands I needed at times. You know, what I found was that I only needed 1 land, so if I was running 3 Liliana, I could probably, you know, maybe do 2 of each, so that I still had a chance to draw them if I never saw Liliana, but none of them were really necessary. Maybe the Blood Crypt, because I have Rakdos' Return as a 1-of in the main deck. So that might have been something I changed. Overall, I think Desecration Demon is the better card. Basically, I didn't own the complete deck list, so that's why I'm not running the 4 of Pack Rat, 4 of Underworld Connections, and I put in Erebos as a 2 of instead of as a 1 of. I threw Lord of the Void in because I don't know, I didn't know what else to play and I needed a big finisher. I kind of wanted to play it more control-y, and I thought it worked really well with Whip of Erebos, potentially, so I wanted to try it that way. Shadowborn Demon is good with Whip as well, and just, it's a fun card. It kind of sucks against opposing Desecration Demon, but at least it can come out, kill something else, and block the Desecration Demon that turn. I'll just go through my matchups now, I guess. So, first round I played a red-white Devotion deck and lost to it. This is the pretty standard kind of everything's double red or more. Ash Zealots, Burning Trees,
Frostburn
Weird, and
Boros
Reckoner, into Stormbreath Dragons and other stuff like that. I beat him 1 game. I'm trying to think of how that went down. I think he just didn't draw the nuts, you know, and unfortunately with that deck, I think if you curve out in any of your ways that you can, you're doing kind of nut stuff. And I think my problem was that I wasn't drawing the removal for all of his creatures, and he only had 1 Burning Tree when he played his Burning Trees, and then didn't have like a follow-up play to it, so it wasn't even devastating. So I'm trying to think of how I know last game I lost to a Stormbreath Dragon because I was so low on life trying to draw more cards, and not seeing a single Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which is, it almost made me want to play Diabolic Tutor, because you are literally, your 3rd turn drop is, you know, it can be Underworld Connections or Night Veil, then Diabolic, and then Grey Merchant to give you 5 life or 6 life, and give you a blocker, and just stabilize you a little more. That was how I was feeling, at least, is that I couldn't hit those Grey Merchants when I really needed to, even though I was drawing the cards that were necessary. So, did not do so well against that deck. And then second round I played red-green aggro, and this was a newer player. He had his like mana distribution off for an aggro deck, so he wasn't drawing enough threats to really threaten me long enough, and so I was just able to outlast him. He was flooded. I think he told me he was playing like 30 lands. He's a newer kid that's been coming around to Magic, and you know, we're all trying to help him out or whatever, but when you're first deck building, you kind of can make those silly mistakes where you think you need the same amount of land in every deck or whatever. Anyway, round 3 I played, I'm calling it Black Jund because it was similar to my deck in that it was mostly black, but he was definitely pushing himself into red more. He wanted to do Rakdos' Return. He was playing Slaughter Games main deck, which surprised me when I got Slaughter Games in the main, and I can't remember what he said. Oh, he named Grey Merchant of Asphodel, and now I'm trying to think if that was the game I lost or if I came back to win that one. I think I lost that one because I couldn't get any life back at that point, and that's really what my deck needs to happen. And then in the second and third game, I had the good sideboard against him. I put all my duress and thought seizes in, and I added, I think, my second Rakdos's return. Probably took out some removal because he was lower on creature counts. I think I took out 2 or 1 Liliana, and 1 of my Erebos, and then the Shadowborn Demon and the Lord of the Void, and Night Howler, just the one-ofs, basically, that are just in there to test out. I was mostly testing out fun cards this this week. Anyway, I did get him in the second and third then, and yeah, I got to Rakdos return him twice in one game, and the first time was
Wow.
4-7
Oh my
because
God.
he duressed me or he thought seized me or something. It was a Lifebane zombie for nothing, and he got to see my hand, saw that I had nothing but like a Hero's Downfall and another piece of removal. So I Devoured Fleshed him, and I think he sacked the Lifebane, giving him a life. Well, then he didn't want to play his Desecration Demon that I knew he had, and I had the Hero's Downfall for, and he had multiple removal spells in his hand because I had thought seized him earlier or duressed him earlier. I can't remember which. So we just played draw go until I got to 9 mana and was able to hit him for all the cards in his hand and 7 damage, and he had no response. And from that point on, it was just pretty much game over.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to, like, now it doesn't matter what you play, I'm going to Hero's Downfall it.
That's huge.
Yeah. So, yeah, I felt really good about that matchup. I just think it was a play mistake. I would have played into the Hero's Downfall just to get it out of my hand. You knew it was there. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. What would have you done?
And he knew about the Rakdos return, or he didn't know?
He didn't know about that.
If he didn't know about the Rakdos return, I guess.
Well, here's what it was.
But not playing. No, just not. You're right. Not playing into a Hero's Downfall isn't right.
It was like turn 4 that he could have had his Desecration Demon out, and he knew I had the Hero's Downfall. Like, that was the turn progression we were on, and he chose not to play it instead of just play it there.
Maybe did he have a hand discard he was waiting to get?
He had.
Was he waiting to get like a...
He had his own 2 removal spells, like his own Hero's Downfall and a Dreadbore or something like that.
That's weird. I mean, if he was running like Duress out of side, maybe he could wait for that because he knew you would have a Hero's Downfall.
I mean, he did have Thoughtseize and Slaughter Games, so...
Maybe it was just he was waiting to like make you discard it before. He'd rather get that value than playing into it. I don't know. You said he was kind of low on threats in his deck, right?
Yeah, he was definitely pushing his control elements a lot. I mean, he, out of the board at least, and I don't know, maybe this is main deck, he had 4 Slaughter Games, you know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And he had the Thought Seizes, must have been as a 4 of 2, and he did at least 2 Rakdos's return, if not 3.
Yeah, okay.
3 or 4 even, I don't know. But, I mean, his deck was kind of trying to do similar things to what I was trying to do, for sure. I don't think he had Underworld connections, though, which would have probably helped his deck out a lot. Anyway, I was able to beat it, and I remember I had a Nightveil Spectre go all the way in one of the games against him.
Oh yeah, because everything you stole you could play.
I think I stole his Rakdos's return, which was how I got to do a second Rakdos's return too. Like it wasn't
filthy.
my own draw. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really filthy.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And then my last match was against Junk, green, white, black, and I thought I would do better than I did.
Is this Joe?
No, this was Zach.
Okay.
And I think that it came down to bad draws again on my part. I just wasn't getting the stuff. And this was the deck and the point where I realized that Desecration Demon was like just essential to this deck as far as putting a threat out there that they have to answer.
I see.
You know, and it can stand in the way of Loxodon, Smiter or whatever and stuff like that. So against Junk, I really wanted to have that Desecration Demon. I'm really sad that I didn't have it. So I did end up trading for one later because I was like, this card's really good. I just need more of this. So I have 2 now. But did okay. I didn't win, but the last game I feel like we were.
Sorry.
That's okay. I feel like we were going like kind of neck and neck in it. Um, I'm trying to think of like some really key plays. Oh, I remember. He had a Loxodon Smiter out, and I had a Liliana out, and or no, I played a new Liliana. I used my other one to kill one of his guys,
Okay.
something like that, or he killed it on his previous turn, something where the one I had out died. So I played a new one and gave -5/-5 to his Loxodon Smiter,
Oh,
and
okay.
he cast Golgari Charm to regenerate his guys, and I was like,
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
And this other time, I had a Liliana out, and I pumped my Night Veil for 7 to attack for lethal, and he Devour Fleshed me, or it must have been Devour Flesh, and it was my only creature. So, but he waited until after I had declared it as an attacker, so it was already 10 toughness. So I gained 10 life off
Oh,
of
I
it,
see. Okay.
and I wasn't sad about that, you know.
Did you, of all your weird sort of, um, you know, picks, variations on this deck, because they are unusual,
Mhm.
which ones do you think you were happiest with, or do you have an opinion about? I guess because we're definitely seeing Liliana. We're seeing Far and Away is not too unusual, I guess. Uh, Toil and Trouble is kind of weird.
Mhm.
Let's see. Rakdos' Return, obviously a little bit weird. Night Howler's definitely weird.
Mhm.
Shadowborn and Lord of the Void. So of all of these sort of variations on the deck, were there any that you were pleasantly surprised with, or?
I was actually pleasantly surprised with Liliana. I thought she was good, you know, for the deck. And I think that the +X ability is under. I think it's. You look at her and you see she removes something, she gets you swamps, and then she makes you cast stuff for like really nothing at all or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Those are the abilities you see. But that +X or -X is actually a pretty good variant ability. You know, it gives her a little more depth than what she would have. What would make this deck really good is if I had something like Tortured Soul in it or whatever that one was, the 1/1 that can't block or be blocked
Oh, yeah,
for 1 black.
I think it's Tormented Soul.
Tormented Soul, yeah. So that would make this deck a little better with the Lilianas, you know. But then you're kind of like, am I just mono black aggro then?
I
or
see.
What?
That is kind of cool. That I think I had forgotten that it was +X or -X.
So
They did want to give it versatility
Yeah.
there because it seemed really bad. It
Yeah,
did.
and it does. When you look at it, and you never look at the +X. I never think of Liliana as, oh, this is going to be my creature buff spell that's going to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it as, this is going to be a kill spell for somebody, and that's about it. And maybe I'll have her survive a turn. And that always felt good when you got to pump her and they didn't have an attack for her, so you got to kill their thing, and then they could attack it, but you killed their thing and you fogged them.
Maybe
You know?
this is something that like a black aggro deck could do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the black-red they have currently with Exava and Spike Jester. Maybe there's something to that. You can toss in maybe like Thrill Kill Assassin or something.
The
Or
problem with her pump is it wants you to have a lot of swamps, you know? So in an aggro deck, she's better as the removal part and like nichey as the +X, you know? Because removing their blockers is better for the aggro deck.
it's cool that she can do both though.
It is cool.
So for aggro, she can be like, oh, you don't have a blocker, I'll pump. Or if they have a blocker, then you kill it, like you said,
Yeah.
and still get in.
Yeah,
so
that's
kind
a
of
good
versatile.
point, yeah.
So for 4 mana, a little bit of versatility. If you're playing basically mono black, you can still run the Spike Jester too, which is fine.
And Exava's not a bad plan either.
I actually like the Spike Jester and Exava with Liliana. It's like 7 or 8 damage out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's very true. Are there any flying haste black guys or red guys? Well, I guess dragon, but that's
Nighthawk's in right now, right?
no,
Or-
that was M13.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one you have now, I guess, is a 4 mana 2/2. Not quite as good.
Well, I think there's potential for Liliana right now because Devotion is so strong. What I did do that was really sweet was I killed a Purphoros with her.
Oh, that is cool.
You know, and
Because you can do minus to the gods
Yeah.
too.
so
That is
she
nice.
kills gods like Thassa, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean that's really really strong. So not to be looked down upon that she can take out the gods, you know. It's actually kind of flavorful too, since she's a demon killer. She should be able to kill gods too. God killer Liliana.
I like it. She is a planeswalker. I guess
It should work that way.
it's more that goes over God.
Hmm. Well,
gods command only a planet, but planeswalkers
it's this way.
are on
On
different planes of
Theros,
existence.
you actually, as a planeswalker, are either on par or below a god. But when you summon a god on a like from Theros on a different plane, you're creating a replica of that god. That's the spell that you're making. So it's not the real thing, but it acts exactly like it would.
I see.
So that's why, like
I
on
didn't
a different,
know that. Yeah.
that's the flavor that they put into summoning and how it works. That's why you can have legendary creatures and everyone can have their own legendary creature. Does not explain the Planeswalker rule, but I'll live with that.
Well, let's talk about some of your other picks. So, Liliani said pleasantly surprised. Toil Trouble.
Never used the trouble part. So
It was just like a
it
sign
was-
in blood or something.
yeah, you know, and looking at it now, it's like I probably shouldn't have played it at all and just done the 4th Read the Bones because I was doing Rakdos' return, the double duress, and the triple thoughts he's out of the board. So I was already planning on stripping control decks of their hands anyway. So
How does Read the Bones play for you overall?
it sucks that it's 2 damage and you have no control over it. Underworld is much better. I like that it scries, but I feel like I would really like a different black card that's scried, you know? Overall, it draws you more cards. I would have rather gone more into blue, I guess, and found a way to just play divination instead or something like that because my life goes down so quickly, and when you have to rely on those gray merchants to get you your life back,
Sometimes you can get too far behind.
yeah.
How about the whip, though? I mean, was that ever coming up huge for you?
No,
or-
I never had it pay off to have a whip. My problem with whip and this deck is that I play 2 threats that I want to get back with whip, Shadowborn and Lord of the Void. You know, and Erebos to a much lesser extent, but anyone else is just like humdrum, you know?
What about Obsidian? How come you didn't want to do that for the deck?
I didn't want double of any off color because I didn't want to.
I guess
do
I'd
that.
forgotten that Obsidian's double white.
And I played the 4 of each of those dual lands because I was thinking, well, if I Night Veil and I'm attacking a blue-white control player, Sphinx's Revelation is the one I really want access to, so I want double blue, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the double white, I was like, well, Obsidat, or if I need a Supreme Verdict against the right deck, which I doubt that would ever have happened, so I don't know why I did that, but, you know, if you ever do need double of one color, you kind of want to have it. I really regret not just sucking it up and playing the green ones, Overgrown Tomb, because I was like, well, if I play against Mono Green Devotion, which is like the only green deck I was thinking about, I was like, I'm not really going to play any of their stuff anyway because it's all just creatures that are already double green to cast. So I do need both of the forests to play it. So I was just like, I'll forget completely about green. Even though I could have had access to cards like Putrefy or Abrupt Decay and stuff like that had I played even just one and searched it up with Liliana. So that was a mistake, I think, in the end. And I probably would have just played 2 of each and gone down to a much lower amount of the tap lands because that damage adds up to... Basically, I found that maybe Pharika's Cure needed to be main deck, or I just needed the Desecration Demons to make the whip a little more relevant for life gain effect and for getting creatures back for a final swing. Because that's where I think whip is actually really good. When you can have that 6 life. I'm getting 6 life every turn because you've removed my Desecration Demons earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I've definitely gotten blown out by whip.
Yeah, I know whip is a strong card, but with the build that I had brought, it was not a good card.
Okay. What about the Night Howler then? Did you ever get a chance to?
I put it on a Night Veil Spectre and it felt pretty good.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah. So I don't have any qualms about Night Howler actually. I would not play it if I had Desecration Demon though.
Okay.
Just because Desecration Demon is its own huge threat.
All right. What about the Lord of the Void? Did you ever get a chance?
It would have been so cool, and I think that in a Reanimator deck, if you want to play the Whip plan, Reanimate with Whip,
That'd be cool.
it could be
Yeah.
really, really fun. But I think it's just fun. You know, it might not be tournament worthy, but you could have a lot of fun with a deck like that. Ashen Rider and stuff like that.
What are all the res spells we have right now? We have Entering, right? Breaking Entering, so we've got Entering.
Yeah, but that's like the worst one.
Because it's 6?
Yeah.
I don't...
Amzadat's Aid and Rescue from Erebus. And I think...
Rescue from the Underworld?
Yeah, Rescue from the Underworld.
That one I don't like because you have to sack the creature.
I like it because you can play it with, like, Sylvan Caryatid and... Like in green black, you can actually use it to some good effect.
I mean, you can, and there is that Comely Woods, not Reanimator.
No, his
value
like
from graveyard deck,
reaches into
which
graveyard.
I still like.
And you can play a lot of those cards, like the
because it still plays Whip, I think so.
Grizzly Salvage and Commune with the Gods. Those are the two.
Yep, and there's one more that I just can't think of right now, but there is.
Oh, isn't it Drown in Filth?
Yes.
Which isn't. Because it doesn't generate you any advantage except for the potential to kill something, I wouldn't play it. I would play the Commune. Because Commune can at least get you.
They do all three, I think.
They do?
I think they just do tons. And then it's all ramp creatures. Because they want more creatures in their graveyard. And they just want to ramp stuff out real fast. So they're basically killing you with Nemesis Immortals really fast. And then their late game, they have Jared. They're running a bunch of him.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because then you can just...
Because he gets the same power toughness boost, and you can sack himself, right? I think he sacks himself.
He cannot sack himself, sadly.
That's sad.
Yeah, but he does toss huge dudes,
boost, right?
and it's still cool with like Whip of Erebus because you can toss them.
That's true. Does he get the power toughness boost? I thought he got +1/+1 per creature.
He does do that.
Okay.
He just doesn't get to toss himself, but he does toss dudes, which is still cool. And that deck is definitely running the Night Howlers. So it's got even more value out of the graveyard.
Night Howler's really good with Jared.
It's really cool in general that it's like a ton of ramp creatures. It's basically just running a ton of creatures, and then it's got ways to get more creatures in the graveyard really fast and search them up.
The 12 cards that mill themselves. Do they play Rock Farm Skeleton?
No.
Sad.
Maybe we can see one. I don't know how well it's performing in the tournament.
It's probably not. It sounds so much fun, though. So
that it's probably not seeing play because it's just too fun. Let's go to Star City real quick and let's take a quick look at the tourney results here.
You want to do your bumper?
Good call. I think we were supposed to do it earlier, but
I wasn't sure.
We'll do it now.
That's
We need that hawk with the talent.
You need it. You need the talent.
Metagame breakdown.
Metagame breakdown. Alright. Let's break down this meta. So, bad news.
If you had Red Elemental Blast in your deck at this tournament, you were doing great.
Top 8 looking a little bit disappointing at this most recent tourney. We're looking at 5 out of 8 being Mono Blue Devotion. But why don't we just jump right to the exciting one we thought, which is in 3rd place, Bant Midrange. So, props to whoever designed this deck. I don't know if it was James Donovan or someone else, but let's talk about the list. So, Bant meaning white, blue, and green, and it's got Aetherling, Arbor Colossus, Elvish Mystic, Clonian Hydra, Prophet of Krufik, Sylvan Caryatid, Couple of Waging Satyrs, Polykranos, Jace, Architect of Thought, the Tension Spheres, Cyclonic Rifts, Plasm Captures, and Sphinx's Revelation. Interesting mix of cards. Let's talk about the most unusual first. We've got Plasm Capture. Opinions on it?
I like this card a lot. I've always liked it actually.
Maybe we should say what it does first,
because
right. People probably don't even know what it does.
This is their fix to Mana Drain, which is the 2-mana counterspell that gave you colorless mana during your next main phase, equal to X, where X was the casting cost of the spell. This is counter a spell for 4 mana, 2 green, 2 blue, and then at the beginning of your next pre-combat main phase, add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. So instead of colorless, you get to choose any type of combination of colored mana. And that's presumably from the 2 green, and you get the 2 mana X effect from, or the X effect and the counter spell from the 2 blue. I really love how they just didn't adjust the cost terribly, even though mana drain, as it is or as it was printed, is probably a very worthy of being 5 mana spell.
Yeah.
Anyway, they did cost it well this time around.
Yeah, it's difficult to pass.
And it's cool. I really like it. I like the potential it has with Prophet of Krufix and Sphinx's Revelation. What I was saying to Alex when we were looking at this list earlier is if you have your Prophet out and you capture something on their turn, you can Sphinx's Rev on your turn
For a bajillion.
for like a lot, and then on their turn you can then have your mana up to rip
Slam a
or
fatty,
or slam fatties, or Revelation again, which has always been
like what
the
you could
biggest pain in
even
the ass.
you could even have the mana to like Arbor Colossus and Monstrosity with your little Nykthos.
Mhm.
It's cool that you can like flash them in and then suddenly get new value from
Mhm.
Nykthos.
Yeah, I mean Nykthos is cool. And I see now like why there's Voyaging Satyr in it more, but
Oh yeah.
it's hard to. I guess none of us really know because we've only seen Nykthos be put into monocolor decks. So this one's got a few more multicolor or straight up not the color. Detention Sphere and Jace, that's 5 permanents. Oh, and Aetherling.
It's
That
very
just aren't even that color.
it's a very interesting white splash
Mm-hmm.
because it's Sphinxes and Detention Sphere. So it's
Mhm.
taking like the blue-white control awesome, foundational cards and just like splashing with a bunch of fatties and a bunch of ramp.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a different type of strategy
Yeah.
than control, but it's utilizing some of control's best tools.
It is interesting, it's strange that he chose to go with Detention Sphere too, considering that it has like no value to be gained from either Nykthos or Prophet. You can only slam it as removal, and it's fine. I mean, it's a really good card. I'm just surprised that there are no other options for this style of deck. Like, how many white sources does he run? I guess he doesn't have a ton. He's only got 8.
Yeah, I guess that's all you need.
So, okay. So now I can see why there are other choices that didn't make it. I was going to say Banisher Priest, but that definitely not on that mana base. That's not going to happen.
It's interesting that he's running Temple of Deceit just to get the
5th Scry Source.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, white-blue runs those 4 2 Temple of Mystery, or 2 Temple of Silence, 2 Temple of Deceit to just to scry,
Mhm.
So it is funny that in this meta that effect is that good, whereas in Future Sight, or like in the original time when there was a scry tap land, that would essentially be to your deck colorless mana. It wasn't good enough then,
Mm-hmm.
And especially considering there was a blue-black control deck at that time that had effects that would let you shuffle your library, so you could literally be searching early on for cards and later on just shuffle. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a cool deck. I don't know about Colonian Hydra. I know it's a really good kill condition, but I just don't know about it. It's a big fatty. I'm never impressed with big fatties.
I like it. I think it's cool, but it definitely hasn't seen a lot of play recently.
The art is very cool.
I feel like it was really popular for a short window
Mhm.
there.
When Mono Green first hit and people were like, oh, I'm buying Nylea and buying whatever. Oh, there's Liliana.
Well, we're looking at a black-green devotion list now. I guess that took 7th. And
This
looks
is like really similar, except with the Desecration Demons, obviously.
it's
And
pretty
into green.
it's pretty much mono black, but we've got this sort of Golgari Charm, Abrupt Decay main deck, and then
I guess
wait,
Charm is.
that's weird. They didn't list the
Oh, maybe the
sideboard
other
on
one
this
has
one.
the sideboard.
Yeah, they listed it twice. Okay, I think
That is why.
there's some sort
Okay.
of mistake on it, but then they have Fade into Antiquity, obviously for the gods. And then we've got Skylasher. So this guy was well prepared to battle some mono blue. Skylasher is kind of the hot green way to
Excuse me.
deal with pretty much everything in their deck,
Hmm.
which isn't actually true. Well, the nice part is you can just keep attacking in too, but I was gonna say it's not even true because they have the Thassa, so they can get past it. But it's cool that it quickly
Hmm.
blocks Cloudfin Raptor.
Yeah, it could be as soon as if you're going
You could
first.
you could kill
Yeah, you
Cloudfin
could
Raptor,
kill a Cloudfin and attack through whatever it was.
Frostburn Weird.
Frostburn Weird, yeah. And potentially block that next turn with your second Skylasher.
Yes, so I think Skylasher is a cool Dragon's Maze sort of answer
I'm
to
glad that
Mono
it's
Blue being so popular
I'm
right
glad
now.
that it's better, getting better.
Mm-hmm. Mistcutter Hydra also,
Mhm.
obviously. So there's actually like two really efficient pro blue guys right now
Mhm.
in green. So you would think, I guess just the green is losing out to the mono black, and then the mono black's losing out to the mono blue.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Does green have anything that's against mono black right now?
Mono black's just got so much.
They've got the sack effects that just
Mhm.
school green no matter what. Even hexproof can't get past them.
And the discard is actually really good because it takes care of the fatties, so it makes their ramp spells more useless.
Yeah.
And then they also get to hit the Garrix too with the Thought Seizes. So even their means of getting.
More
I mean,
value.
Garrick is the best thing against mono
Mhm.
black.
And Hero's Downfall takes it out even if it's out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're pretty much just slamming it and trying to get as much value
Mhm.
from your draw as you can,
Yeah.
as you well know. But I don't know. I mean, I'm saying that because you played the deck last
Yeah.
week. You
Right.
slammed all the Garricks. But yeah, there's and they have Lifebane Zombie too, so they have really good ways to deal with green.
Mhm.
Well, I still like the Skylasher. That's cool green. And Mistcutter Hydra has actually been played quite a bit. It's actually I think more of a last couple weeks thing that Skylasher has started to be played for it.
Yeah, I agree. It also stops Night Veil, so it has
Yeah,
potential
that's
against
true.
even mono black as like a bring two of them in to just stop Night Veils.
Yeah, it's really good. A lot of mono blue, and then we saw one red, essentially mono red devotion deck in the top 8, which Jake lost against in round 1, and I've lost against before online. Very difficult deck for aggro, but in general, I think the deck is actually
It's pretty strong. I think it's
a cool deck.
resilient, maybe. I don't know
I'm
because
sure its weakness, it's got to be an Esper control or some sort of control-y list, I would think, because it doesn't
yeah,
do well against Supreme Verdict when they're trying to build their board to do a
that's true.
big devotion.
And they have detention spheres to take out Perforos. It's just the
Dragon.
which if you're Esper, Hero's Downfall will take it out. Otherwise, you can counter it if you're white, blue, or you have to Supreme Verdict it.
So
Actually, Elspeth kills it too. Elspeth's middle ability is not to be overlooked.
yeah, and I've seen
do.
no, I've totally seen that happen too.
Yeah.
And that one's like very much satisfying for the player because it's pro white to the dragon. I mean, so Elspeth,
Exactly. Yeah.
Elspeth still answering the
Mhm.
pro white guy is like a slap in the face.
And they still have to kill your Elspeth too.
Yeah.
That's what's so dirty about that Elspeth. I love it.
So Storm Breath control still has the answer for it, but you're right. That is the best threat that they offer against control lists. Okay.
They also play Hammer, I think. Even
Yeah, no, Hammer Perforos, that's true. So they have sort of a late game plan, and I bring that in on a sideboard for the control lists. But you're right, that is actually a really good card against control. And that's probably a big reason why you see these decks main decking it, because they're so weak in that match anyway. So the Hammer is kind of like dual purpose.
Creatures have haste. If you build up your Burning Tree Emissary against control too.
Even
and
Fanatic. Fanatic
oh yeah,
going in is just like bringing
7 damage potentially the turn you play it.
Yeah.
Or more.
At least with the Hammer, right? So that's good. Yeah, no, that's a good turn progression too. Even if you didn't have any other, just going Hammer into Fanatic. This is probably a deck I should be playing, honestly. This looks like the best future for the red deck.
Yeah, I'm missing the Perforos, but otherwise I think I could make this deck. If you're interested
that's
in
cool.
playing it.
Yeah, I should look into that.
Oh, I don't have the Reckoners. I'm sorry. I forgot that they played 3 or 4 of those.
Oh, that sucks.
I
That's
have
okay.
one.
Yeah, I wish I had them.
Oh,
I never had them. I think I underrated them at first.
I did too.
Now I hate them because they're so good.
I underrated them hard because I was like, so it's Spite Mare that gains First Strike, and now it's like, oh, it's Spite Mare, and yet it has First Strike. So even when you think you can trade it, you can't. You know.
Yeah, it's a really, really powerful card.
Mhm.
And it's been like underplayed. It's just been bad in some matchups right now, I think. Yeah, it's because so many people are playing the Devour Flesh and the Hero's Downfall. The the whole thing about the current standard environment having so many good instant speed removal tools has really shaped like what creatures people want to play. Because it's like I have to play efficient, cheap dudes because I want to make them pay more for their Hero's Downfall than I have to pay to play my creature.
That's true of every format, though. I mean, when Lightning Bolt was around, 1-drops were crazy good, and 2-drops were really good.
True,
like,
but
Step
anything
Links and Plated GFP.
3 was the magic number though. If you couldn't get past 3, then you were screwed.
Yeah, but that is the whole point of it, you know. I mean, Hero's Downfall and Devour Flesh, well, Hero's Downfall in particular, will hit anything, and so does Dreadbore. You know, like both of those cards. If you just played 4 Hero's Downfall, 4 Dreadbore, you'd be really good, in my opinion. You could just be like derp derp.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you can't hit is pro black stuff. Blood Baron is like the only thing. Oh, and what's the white Fiend Slayer Paladin?
Do you have Nixos? I have 3 if
I
you
have
don't.
3.
Okay. Well, maybe I will try my hand at this deck. Definitely looks interesting. You even have the Storm Breaths, don't you?
Yeah, not the playset. I only have 3 though.
It's okay. I'm sure we could make some work, but I guess I'd have to figure out. Reckoner's a pretty essential aspect of the deck. But what are they at now? They're probably like 12, 15 or something.
I feel like they're even 10-ish. But
They're
maybe they're 12.
I feel like they're at a low for the last like 6 months of what they've been, despite the fact that they're omega good for devotion.
That and Night Veil saw the skyrocket because
It's like
when was the last time a Spectre was even relevant in Standard?
Yeah, good point.
That's what
Hypnotic.
and that's what I looked at that card and was thinking the other day. It's like, no wonder everyone just brushed this card aside because this style of card has never been good in Standard. And at 3 of 1 color mana or whatever. In a snooze fest color combination, no less. They've really done blue-black a disservice. Psychic Intrusion. I was talking about that card with a guy at work, and the more I talked about it, the more upset I got. Because I was like, no, it's not that bad. And then it's like, well, why can't you just cast that card? And I was like, yeah, why can't you just cast that card?
And what's the mythic one?
Reap Intellect?
Yeah, isn't that one awful as well?
That one's offensive, actually. Because you should be able to get a lobotomy for lobotomy cost. And because it's mythic, I don't think that's too much to ask. It's not even Slaughter James. So you're not even guaranteed to hit anything.
I guess it should have been 3 in X. That way you could pay 1 and make it lobotomy, right? But then every mana you pay after lobotomy, you're getting an extra card.
It should have been a more intense mana cost, like color-wise. If they wanted to do that.
A little more, and then it would have made more sense.
Like
mythically.
double black blue.
Yeah.
Because, what I think this is part of a defunct cycle of 2-color X spells, where it wasn't able to be a really hard cycle. So Epic Experiment is part of it. Biomass Mutation. Gaze of Granite. So all of these are like part of this weird cycle of X rare or mythic cards, and I don't know why they adjusted this one, because I guess if Gaze of Granite is part of that cycle too, then there's really no reason it couldn't have been double blue or double black to cast it.
Yeah.
Probably double blue would make more sense.
But that is a pretty terrible card. I want to look at Psychic Intrusion one more time. So, reveals as a hand, choose a card from it. Or the graveyard or hand, exile it, cast a card for as long, and you may spend mana as over. Okay.
It's like offensive because it makes you pay for it.
Yeah, so it's just like outrageous amount that you're probably going to end up spending to get it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It is. It's just too expensive. Something needed to be cheaper. If they
It,
were gonna make
even
you
if
pay,
it was
then it
like
needed to be like
you may
3.
cast that card as long as it remains exile, and you may pay X less mana to cast it, where X is 5 or 5 less mana to cast it. You know, so that
The psychic
at
intrusion
least
cost was
yeah.
already sort of built in. That would have fixed it. I would have been okay with that. Or just making it 3 mana
Mhm.
and then make them pay. Like keep everything the same except 2 less
Yeah,
colorless.
actually, the fact that 3 mana doesn't even make this card crazy is really funny.
Yeah,
It's
like
a coercion at 3 mana then, at rare, so it's not even good already, and then you still have to cast the spell again.
and it's non-land still too. So at
Yeah.
5 it should have at least been able to hit lands. It's
Yeah.
not like you're gonna break somebody with that. What did they used? Agonizing Memories was 4, right? And you could
Yeah, like
put 2.
screw yeah, doink doink.
Put your lands on top of your library, so you're drawing back your lands.
It was plow under for cards in your hand. It's so mean.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't a great card,
But that effect is always proven to be really strong to put cards right on top of their library in
Mhm.
multiples.
yeah, definitely. Disrupting card draw can be huge
Mhm.
sometimes. Sometimes it's also a dead card, but
Yeah.
that's how discard works.
I do like the fact that this card works with the mill strategy, but then I was also thinking how Ashiok doesn't work with the mill strategy and how lame that is.
It's still like,
Ashiok's very good, and I see why.
oh, it doesn't work with this. I see.
I see why Ashiok doesn't put cards into their owner's graveyard, because then you could chain Ashioks to get back multiple creatures in a turn. But I still wish that it would have. That's all I'm going to say about Ashiok.
Okay. Let's go to the Weird Harvest card of the week. Weird Harvest. Weird Harvest.
Save.
All right, Rocket Launcher is the card this week.
This
Rocket
is a fun one. Yeah.
Launcher.
Grab me. I'm storming a castle. Grab me my rocket launcher. Why doesn't this fit in Magic?
Oh man, this card's hilarious. I used to absolutely adore this card as a kid. I played Urzatron at that time. For me, my little Urzatron, which was like Juggernauts, which I just thought were sick because they were good.
Yeah.
Juggernauts are probably the highlight of the deck. But I was all about the clockwork creatures, like Avian.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
I loved Clockwork Avian.
It's like 5 mana, 4, 3
This
flyer.
is a Sarah Angel in any color.
Is that what it was? A 4/3 flyer?
It was 4/4 flyer.
Okay.
But it obviously ticked down. But
Clockwork Beast, wasn't he like a 7/5 or 7/6 or something?
I think maybe it was 7/5. Clockwork Beast was a big guy. Yeah. For 6 mana.
He was good. I mean, we have it in front of us.
Actually, I'm almost sure it's 7/4 because it was like a better than Crawworm. Yeah.
7/4. That's cool.
That art is sweet, by the way.
What was the other? There was one more Clockwork Steed. I think
that was Homelands, and there was Clockwork Swarm from Homelands, and they both.
I didn't play Swarm, but I did play Steed. I think I did.
They had Clockwork Gnomes.
I was doing all the weird cards though, like Urza's Miter.
Yeah, Urza's Miter, that draws you a card. Yeah.
Every time one of my artifacts dies.
Was it dies or cast? I can't remember. I think it is dies.
Maybe you're right. It could have been
Urza's,
cast. I actually don't remember.
Yeah, graveyard. Because Urza's
it costs 3.
Cup or Chalice or whatever was also dies, gain a life.
Card's hilarious, but that deck was a lot of fun. But anyway, Rocket Launcher was definitely in that deck. With the Urza lands, you could just nuke them for 1,000,000.
You just had to wait that one.
I played like Zern Orb too.
Oh, that's
and Zern Orb was popular in everybody's deck at that time because it just bought you so much time in the big multiplayer games where you're getting a bunch of lands out. Then additionally, what else did I play on that deck? I feel like I played Icy Manipulator for sure. You wanted to be able to tap stuff down. It's a fun deck, and Rocket Launcher was a really fun part of that deck. It's pretty weak overall, but I actually, I wouldn't mind an update to a card like this. I like
They've already updated it.
Oh, okay. What's the one? I just like the idea of like an X burn spell in colorless.
It's Goblin Cannon. In fact, it's like a really sweet update to it because it's basically the same thing without the wait a turn to activate it.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't play during Mirrored in Time, so I guess I wasn't exposed to this card. But I wouldn't be upset if they reprinted Goblin Cannon. I think in a core set or something.
Oh, in a core set, totally, yeah.
It would be a cool
and
one.
It's flavorful.
It'd be a cool uncommon, and in limited, I think it would actually be pretty playable. Don't you think?
What I like about this card is that it shows new players complexity too, so it could go in. Because you look at it as a new player and you're probably like, this card sucks, I get to use it exactly once. But then maybe you realize at some point that you can use it in response to itself or whatever. If you interact with someone who uses it like in the other way, then
So you can pay 2 and while the sacrifice Goblin Cannon.
well, while that one's on the stack, you put another one on, then another one on, then
So
another
you
one on.
can target
So,
a bunch of stuff
yeah,
still.
yeah. You just maintain priority because you can do that.
And I think that was the issue that they had with Rocket Launcher before.
No, the initial thing with the rules was that you could pay when there was no tap symbol in the rules text for a card like this. The one that they used was Pestilence. I remember in the rule book. You could pay 1 each time, or you could pay it once each time, or you could pay any amount of mana and have it all resolve at once as one big thing. So it would be like I could do Pestilence for 1, or I could do Pestilence for 5. You know, and instead of dealing 1 damage 5 times, it's actually dealing 5 damage at once to everything.
Okay.
So that would be how this used to work then.
Maybe we should read what Rocket Launcher does. It's a 4-mana artifact, 2 mana. You pay 2 mana, and then it deals. Let's read the card text first. Do 1 damage to any target. Rocket Launcher may not be used until it begins a turn in play on your side. If it is used, Rocket Launcher is destroyed at end of turn. The new text is 2. Rocket Launcher deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Destroy Rocket Launcher at the beginning of the next end step. Activate this ability only if you've controlled Rocket Launcher continuously since the beginning of your most recent turn. A lot of ugly text now, unfortunately. But I liked it because it was a colorless, like I said, colorless burn spell, so it was very unusual. There's not a lot of stuff that does that.
This is one of those rare occasions where the original text is actually clearer than the new Oracle wording.
That's always a nightmare.
Yeah. But I like Poly Artifact. Like, there's so many things about this card that make me laugh. Rocket Launcher in general in Magic is hilarious.
The picture is hilarious, too. It
looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle goblin.
It's definitely a very happy, gleeful that he's blowing something up goblin.
I also like that the rocket launcher is destroyed at end of turn. The explosion it can deal that damage now, but then like later on in the day, the rocket launcher just inexplicably blows up.
Yeah, it's weird.
I like that there's a sight on the rocket launcher.
Yeah, and it's goblin-y looking, like it's got like almost like a claw, like mouth.
Like a maw, yeah. Talon of Pain is probably a good.
It's got texture on it, but I mean, you just don't see cards like this anymore. The whole named rocket launcher, I mean, it's sweet.
Yeah. Rocket launcher.
Rocket launcher, and it's a goblin firing it.
I really think it's a terrible name, actually. I like it because it's old, and I'll be okay with it because of that. But
it's if they were a weird card,
if they were to print Rocket Launcher now and name it Rocket Launcher, I would be so upset because I just really don't like that name for Magic.
Well, Pete Venters is the artist, and I think he did a good job. I mean,
I think he's one of those few Magic artists that plays the game too and enjoys the game.
Oh, cool. That's always nice because then they really want to do the art right for the game.
Well, they're really good for like doing character portraits too, because then they actually might be more invested in getting it a little more, I don't know, taking a little more care to do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, we're going a little long today, so I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in and do those card giveaways. Check those out. I've already gotten a lot of comments on the first one I put up, so I appreciate that. And we're going to be doing more of those in the future. I haven't decided what cards I want to give away in the future too, but I'm going to try and do some kind of unusual ones that have a little bit of value, and I might do some more bigger value ones later. But I don't think I'm ever going to do like total crappers. Like this one is for this one's a Wizard Drink.
Yeah. Oh my God. No comments. Trade.org?
Free Wizard Drinks?
Or if they pair, because they always seem to travel in pairs.
And you get a Goblin Mutant on top of that.
I hate Wizardrix. I don't know how many times people come in with their binder of 8 pages of Wizardrix. I collected Wizardrix.
Well, I feel bad for you.
Yeah. You're one of a million people.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Take it easy, guys.
Later.